Good morning. So I like to do this fun thing where I go to work before I go to work and do stuff. It's anyway. So one of the questions that I hear a lot, or I see like rhetoric about on different social media platforms and around town and stuff, is like, well, what are they teaching the kids these days? You know, what's going on? Those types of questions. And it's not a secret. It's not like a big secret at all. As a matter of fact, it's like totally the opposite of a secret. So I wanted to take everybody for a little walk down the little standards highway, especially for here in Alaska. If you go to education.alaska.gov, then, which is the website that I'm on right now, this is called a screencast, by the way, which is what I like to teach students how to do in order to prevent them from, using AI to plagiarize. I make them do one of these to show me their presentations, and it's fun. So education.alaska.gov, and that's going to bring you to this website here. You can go to, I want to find standards. Actually, I already have the window open. Anyway, you can search up standards. Maybe it's under student learning. Here we go. Okay, I'll walk you through it. Go to standards. And then it'll take you to Alaska Standards and Instruction, give you the people that are in charge of it, their contact information so that you can get a hold of them anytime you want to. And then it has a list of the standards. Now, standards are like what we expect kids to be able to do at certain times. So kindergartners should be able to do this by the time they're done with kindergarten. And if they can, then they have one kindergarten, they've succeeded. And then it goes all the way up, and I'll show you that in just a second. Anyway, we have all these standards. They're all listed here. The last time that they were reviewed are here. Fun fact, I got to help write the social studies standards last year. It was super fun. Well, was it 2 years ago? Anyway, it's a big, long process. It takes forever, and it's really cool because you get to hang out with a bunch of teachers that teach the same thing you do and talk about it. And then we like pull from different standards that have been built in different states. The social studies standards in Alaska, I liked them because I'm trained to be a social studies teacher, and I understood, like, they were super vague, but I understood like what their concepts were because I was trained in that department. But most teachers are not, they don't have a background in history, and they don't have a background in teaching social studies. It's a different thing. So, but the Alaska social studies standards ranked the bottom lowest of any standards in the country. And the person who wrote this report, it was hilarious. They were super snarky. They were like, apparently Alaska has decided the rest of the country doesn't exist because its U.S. history standards are nowhere in evidence on the website. It's like, we wish sometimes, but anyway. Okay, so we got to write the social studies standards. I'll show you that stuff in a bit. But this is the law. So a bunch of people get together. We look through the best practices. We look through the research. We look through what other states are doing, sometimes even what other countries have done. And we figure out, okay, this is what is developmentally appropriate for this age of kid. And this is what we should be teaching them during these times so that they can build off of each other. It's a whole scope and sequence process. Lots of sticky notes, lots of big pieces of paper, lots of like markers. It was fun. And then we put all of it together. This is our proposed like working document. We submit it to the Alaska School Board. And there is a school board. I didn't pull up a page on that, but you guys can look it up. The State of Alaska School Board. Our own Penny Vodla is on it. I think there's a delegation from every school district that's on the Alaska School Board. So anyway, they look at the document, they decide whether they think it's appropriate or not appropriate, or, if there's something that they'd like to add or something they want to take away, or a different way to set things up. Because most of the time, many times, not most, many times people on the school board have been educators, so they can understand these types of like the developmental cognitive awarenesses of kids and like where the brain's at in different times. Anyway, so they figure that out. And then from there, from the school board, they take it and give it to the legislature. So that's the district, or so that's the Alaska House and Senate. And the Senate looks at the standards and they decide whether or not they think it's appropriate. They vote on it and they either pass it or they don't. If they don't pass it, then they kick it back and start the process over again. So 2024, I guess that is last year, we had new social studies standards adopted, and it's pretty cool because it's very, very robust, comprehensive to help guide teachers, especially new teachers, especially elementary teachers, on what to teach and when we didn't really have that before, for social studies anyway. So you can go here, this is the website, you can look at all of these things and see, and it's a checklist. Now, on top of that, every school district in the state also has a set of standards, and this is where you go to find ours. And it's in KPBSD, you go to departments, and then you go to curriculum, let me see, departments, instructional services and curriculum, yes. So this is where we have our lovely Melissa Linden. You can get a hold of her. She has all of her contact information on this website. This is what basically we're teaching here in KPBSD. And there's also core and supplemental core content resources, things like that. These are like, the basic tools that KPBSD generally uses. This is, as far as the state standards are law. This is department regulations or department like board policy type stuff here. So like you'll find the same checklists, you'll find the same list of information, but it's maybe more comprehensive, I think, in some ways than the state version, just because it also talks about scope and sequence, which is when during the year you're teaching things. Anyway, moving on. I can nerd out about this all day. I love standards. So here's the social studies standards from the state of Alaska, and they had some webinars, and you can go to the recording on the slide deck, and it introduces what is happening. And I know social studies is a really big deal for a lot of people because we're talking about government and history and all these things that kind of make up their national identity. So a lot of people get a lot of really big feelings about all of this stuff. But there's professional development modules, so as a parent or even as a homeschooler, you could get on here and figure this stuff out and learn more information about how to teach. And anyway, resources. It's cool. I love it because for me, if you hand me a textbook, textbooks are not one size fits all. Textbooks are they're a tool that you can use in order to teach whatever it is you are at. I'm a big picture thinker. I'm a over the head thinker type of person, kind of like the forest instead of the trees. So I like to look at things and figure out what's the overarching perspective. And some of the textbooks are not. They just kind of go down through facts and figures, and then that's why kids are bored during social studies, is that they just it's in the afternoon, it's being taught by a wrestling coach, and they're just reading out of a textbook. Boring. You want to give kids an opportunity to problem solve and act things out and do cool stuff like that. So anyway, that's where you find that. Now, I did this cool project. There's the content standards. Oh yeah, so this is what it looks like when you actually dig down into it. It's like a PDF. It goes through, teaches all this stuff. I'm scrolling until I find, sorry, don't make yourself dizzy. Oh, here we go. So here's the strands, content anchor standards, they're called. So civics, economics, geography, history are the 4 strands. And then it explains all of that, what those things mean. You can get down to where they are talking about grade level stuff, inquiry standards, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so when I found out that I had to teach little ones after I had a panic attack and had to have a sit down, it's I think I actually started working on this before that. But anyway, I came up with a checklist and I was like, okay, what do kindergartners need to know? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to teach kindergartner. And I did. I had one little kindergartner. He was the sweetest little thing. So cute. And, I needed a list of things to do or a list of things that I was supposed to teach him. And so here they are, literally. I pulled all of these things from the Department of Education for Alaska, and I put them in a standards checklist. If you guys want a copy of this, I'm happy to send it to you. Just let me know. Check this out. I did this cool thing where I can like click that. Isn't that cool? I did that by myself. I had to learn how it was hard. Anyway, so here's the kindergartner standards checklist. And as you can see, you know, like it's not necessarily a short, well, I mean, you know, it's not, if you think about this over a course of a year, you know, I think it's doable. You know, it's totally doable over the course of the year. So anyway, we got kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. I went all the way up to fifth grade. Technology, reading, writing standards, speaking and listening, which is all part of the ELA standards, math standards, sciences, and then I didn't, because we were in the process at that time of rewriting the social studies standards, I didn't get up to that, but I should come back and keep working on this thing. And then, and then there's this continuum thing, and this is where people like me who have taught in small schools really like need this thing, because we have these things called strands, right? And the assumption is, and these are like COVID priority standards highlighted, but you know, like they're all important sort of. So we have this strand. So kindergarten through fifth grade, like I will sound out kindergarten words, first grade words, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade words. So like that's like one strand, and it just goes all the way up. Here's another one. It doesn't start until first grade. You know, and it goes up. Sometimes they don't change, but it's like fifth grade level work, and that's decided by somebody else. So that's reading foundational skills, reading literature, reading informational, writing, speaking. I went all the way through, down here at the bottom, you can see I went all the way through math. Did I do sciences? Oh yeah, I did the sciences, and that's where I stopped. K-5 Earth Sciences. So some things don't always apply to each grade, and I put grades here, or levels here instead of grades, because a lot of times, you know, like in a small school, you have all the kids in one spot. So, you know, we don't really like to judge kids by the grade that they're in or their born on date. We like to, you know, where are they at? And then also this, if you show this to kids and it's kind of written in student language, if you show them and explain them, then it becomes a challenge, and they're like, oh, I can beat that third level and I can level up. And, you know, like as long as you're not punishing them with more work when they do their standard, and give them the opportunity to like do other cool stuff, then they'll work. They'll do as much as they can in order to get to that place where like, yes, I get to play with Tinker Toys now. Anyway, was there something else I wanted to show you? Go away. Nope, okay, don't go away. I got to write these standards this year, and I was so excited. So this is the National Quality Online Teaching Standards, and they brought a bunch of people together because the last time it had been done was like before AI and before, you know, a while ago. So I got to write these standards here. And I personally did this one, Standard D, and I helped with these things. I was very proud of that. Good morning, Keegan. Anyway, so that's what standards are. That's what we're teaching kids. You have an opportunity as an adult, as a parent, as anyone, any students, you guys can get online. You can see these things. Go to education.alaska.gov, right there, standards/standards. And check it out. And this is what your local school should be teaching. This is the law. And I guess if you don't like the law, you can, you know, get a hold of these people and work to change that. But as an educator, this is what I'm obligated to teach. And I thought that you guys should know about these types of things.